Hi there. In this video, we will set up GA4 e-commerce tracking using Shopify's new and exciting feature called Shopify Pixels. Events like Add to Cart, Product View, Checkout Steps, Purchase will also be included in this open source solution. As always, it is completely free, beginner friendly, and I will walk you through step by step. Breaking news here. Shopify launched this amazing feature called Shopify Customer Events, and Shopify Pixels is the only section there at the moment. You all know it. It has been one of the most significant pain points for Shopify merchants to manage their pixels and get accurate data. It seems like Shopify released a potentially permanent solution to this. So here are the steps that we will be taking in this video. Our end goal is for you to have a complete GA4 e-commerce tracking on your Shopify store. But firstly, we will quickly have a look at Shopify Pixels, and then we will do your Shopify GA4 integration using Shopify Pixels. And then we will do a real-time data validation using Google Analytics 4's DebugView mode. And lastly, we will talk about Shopify Pixels cons and risks. Enough of Shopify Pixels now. I know you all have been waiting for the native Shopify GA4 integration. It has not happened yet, but Shopify Pixels provides us with an amazing surface to play around. It has only been 3 days since Shopify released it, and yet our team at Analyzify have completed the code blocks, tests, and tutorials. All you need to get the GA4 up and running on your Shopify store using Shopify Pixels. You might have seen me earlier. This is Erman, co-creator of Analyzify. We are the first team that offered an open source working Shopify GA4 solution almost 2 years ago. Then we improved it and created a complete course on Shopify Google Tag Manager integration. Lastly, we released the Shopify GA4 Kit, another open source solution for merchants to set up GA4 using Google Tag Manager. Shopify GA4 Kit is still great and you are definitely safe to use it. In this video though, we will do the setup using Shopify Pixels, and it will include more events compared to the Shopify GA4 Kit thanks to Shopify Pixels features. However, before we get started, I would like to state that Shopify Customer Events has just been released and it might not work for every store in every case. I believe it will take quite some time to have it perfectly working. This is an advanced feature and Shopify is not responsible for your use of pixels. That's totally a valid warning and concern. During our tests in the last couple of days, we have also faced many issues. We had to tweak the code blocks many times. And we now finally have a working version that we can share with the Shopify community. However, in our opinion, Shopify Pixels is still not ready to be a primary data source. Now, let's dive into that together and discover what's going on. Without further ado, let's get started. We will be using this page as the primary source in this tutorial. The main reason for that is, unfortunately, we cannot update the YouTube videos, but we can easily update the website. In this way, we can make sure that you are getting the most up-to-date version of our tutorial, the code blocks, or our tips and tricks, no matter when you are watching this video. I strongly recommend you to read this page completely because, as I mentioned earlier, Shopify Pixels is a new feature and it has its own risks. But now we will use this section of the page, set up GA4 e-commerce tracking using Shopify Pixels. As I mentioned before, it will include page view, event, search event, product view, add to cart, begin checkout, add payment info, purchase, and all these events will be some metrics and dimensions attached to that. Product ID, product name, product price, currency, value, line items, etc. So let's just go down and see the steps. As you can see here, the first steps is that we need to go to Shopify admin settings, customer events, and add new custom pixel. The naming is really important here because only in this way you can keep track. Only in this way you can know which pixel comes from where or which version are you in. Because as I mentioned before, we might update this pixel, we might learn new things, we might upgrade it, we might add more metrics, more events, etc. That's why this naming, please respect to this naming and make sure that you are following this naming convention. Now I will copy this and I'll go to the admin panel. scroll down, click Customer Events, add new pixel, and name it as suggested there. Just copy it. And as you can see here, the warning I made earlier is here clearly visible. This is an advanced feature and it requires JavaScript knowledge. Shopify is not responsible. And also Shopify recommends using apps instead of using this feature by yourself. At the moment, Shopify Web Pixel extension API is not yet released to production. So the apps are, of course, apps like Analyzify are still great for data tracking, but they are not using the Pixels API yet. I think by the end of this year, probably next month, it will be released and apps also will be really empowered. At the moment, my humble recommendation is you use the apps like Analyzify, hopefully Analyzify, as your primary data source and Pixels as your secondary data source. Then maybe cross-compare it because, again, this is a new feature and many things might not work as you expect. We will see the results together. So let's click here at Pixel. And now there are lots of warnings. But what we need to do here, we just need this code block. Let's go back to our tutorial, obviously. And of course, Analyzify team has prepared an amazing code block for you. I should warn you though, this code block is quite different than what Shopify gave as an example, because at the time we were trying, the Shopify's example didn't work for us. We also included some details about it here. If you are interested in, you can read. Shopify gave an example for custom meta pixel, but the product level metrics were not taking it correctly. So we needed to make lots of tweak into that code. We are still using, of course, the Shopify's own events and liquid templating language, but it's quite different. It works just great, as you will see. Now, after we paste it, there is this super important step. We need to add our own GA4 ID. As I mentioned before, we definitely do not recommend using this as a primary source now. That's why you can just create a new staging property so that you can compare the results. That's what I will do now. Let's just jump into Google Analytics and create a new property together. When you are on Google Analytics, just click admin on the left bottom corner and you will see here create a property button. If you are not seeing this, that means you are not account admin. Maybe you might need to create a new account if that's the case. In this article, we also linked to some tutorials from our documentation. You can see them easily here, how to create, and after you create, how to find your ID. Analyzify documentation is always a great resource for this kind of things. Now let's continue. Let's click create property. For this tutorial, I'll just name it as Analyzify GA4 Shopify Pixels. Oops. Test. Or let's name it staging. For instance, if you are using Analyzify app or Shopify GA4 kit or another app, just keep your existing property, don't touch, create a new one like this, and then you can compare the results as I mentioned before. Choose your own currency, your own time zone, just continue here. These things don't matter at all. Let's just move on. And then when it asks a platform, choose web. You need to provide a stream name, website URL. The example website I'm using for this tutorial is our dear client, Not Your Average Coffee. They do amazing coffee. I think they only ship in Europe at the moment. They're also our neighbor company here in Estonia. So I just wanted to include them in this tutorial. Of course, I got their permission. So let's just paste into their URL, continue. And I need the not stream ID, but measurement ID. Copy the measurement ID. It should start with G and then dash. I copied the measurement ID. Come back to the code block. There are two measurement IDs in this code block. One is here and then the second one is here. You need to update it both. And that leads us to the next section of the tutorial. It says click save. I will click save. I know it's obvious that what I am showing in this tutorial, but again, if what I am saying in this video doesn't match with the content, please trust the content, because content will always be more up to date. Again, I cannot update this video, but I can always update the content. So please make sure to check here and see, especially the code block and these warning sections. So I need to save this. In the meantime, I will do a quick code overview for you guys. So here there is this JavaScript codes that takes the line items and stuff. But if I scroll down a little bit, I just want to show you how this code works. Here, this is the code from Shopify Pixels. It registers the page view event, and then it simply tells when this event happens, trigger this code block. And in our case, GTag, Google tag event page view is being triggered when the page is viewed, and then it takes this data from the section above. That's how it works. For instance, let's take an example. This is the add to cart event, which you have been waiting for a long time. Add to cart event will also work great with this. As you can see here, unlike Google Tag Manager, we only add one code block, and that code block helps you track all the events and even attaches all the relevant data to the events. It's really powerful. It's amazing actually. But again, one more time, especially for those who did not listen to the first section of the video, this is just released and it might not be ready to be for your primary source. Please use it with caution, use with the staging environment. So all the events are here, and let's just save it first, save the code first. Okay, I have saved it earlier, I forgot. Now I need to connect. That's how it works. Connect, and pixel connected. Let's go back. Let me just disconnect the previous pixel I made. Okay, now there is only one pixel which is connected. Here I should give you a pro tip. It took us some time to understand this weird thing. When you make an update in this code, let's say we just want to change something. Okay, we save it. And I just want to copy the code again. What I want to show you is when I paste the changes and save it again, I actually need to disconnect and connect again. Don't ask me why. We realized it later as well, and our text wasn't working, and then we figured it out. Maybe this bug will be resolved soon. Obviously, it's a kind of a bug, but I just wanted to let you know, because in case you change things and it doesn't work, it's because of that. So now I edit the ID, for example, I will disconnect and then connect again so that it will work. Actually, believe me or not, that's it. Now this code should be working perfectly. All these events should be sending the relevant data into this GA4 property. But of course, we will test it as always. I know you guys like this debugging process, me too. So in the next part of the video, we will jump into the debugging. We will use GA4's debug tool. Okay, now we came to the exciting section where we will test if this will work properly. And don't worry, we will also test the add to cart event. I know you guys have been waiting for it. So my recommendation for testing is using firstly an incognito window. Just open it in an incognito window, visit your website, visit a few pages, just activate the pixel this way, and then just close it. Go to Google Analytics 4. On the left bar, you have configure. Click that. And then you will see on the left again, debug view. This will show live view of the events that are coming in. But for debug view to work, it doesn't work by default. For debug view to work, we need to click this learn more button. There we have this Google tag websites, and then install the Google Analytics Debugger Chrome extension. If you don't want to go this much deep, it is fine. You can just leave it as it is, and then you can check your data in the real time. But I definitely recommend doing the debug mode, because it will show you how it works. And if there's a problem with the data, you will be able to see the details about it. For instance, now, as you can see here, the events are already coming in. And things seem to be working here. But again, once again, we did not do the debug. Let's do the full debug as well. You need to install this debugger Chrome extension, and then your debug mode will work. I think I have it already. Once you install, you just need to enable it from here. It will, let me find, I have lots of extension here. Google Analytics Debugger it is called. Google Analytics Debugger, where are you? Okay, maybe I just remove it and edit again. Okay, it came here, but you know, it's getting lost. Then you need to come here and find and then pin it. Now you should see the sign on while you are visiting your website. This extension sends the signal to Google Analytics 4 that you are actually debugging this site, and make sure to hard reload the page. In Mac, it is Shift Command R. In Windows, if I remember well, it was like Control F5, something like that. Hard reload the page, visit a couple of pages. Then we expect to see this data coming in the debug view. It is not always working perfectly. In my case now it worked. As you can see, the debug data came in, my browser came in. If it doesn't come in, try to use in another browser, in another Chrome profile, or activate this debug view. Let me also show you that. The debugger, you can manage extension and make it available in incognito window, because maybe something in your browser is blocking it, you know. So, and then just open the website in the incognito window. Then you will see the extension here again and activate it one more time. Then start visiting the pages. Make sure to make add to cart event as well. Okay, I will actually find my favorite coffee here, which is Kickstarter coffee. What not your average coffee does is that they add the superfood ingredients to the coffees, and they are organic, healthy, and you can see the details here. This one has maca root, beetroot, Peru coffee. It's really giving nice amount of energy. I know this sounds like advertorial. I actually even have the coffee with me, but I just love them, and I wanted to share with you guys. Feel free to order. They sent to Europe once again. But let's continue. Add to cart and click checkout. And now we came to actually to the checkout now. We click again. This is not ideal if that's in your store like this from conversion rate standpoint. I'm supposed to be redirected to the checkout page directly. But anyway, that's not our topic now. I will stop. I will fill in this form and come back. Okay, here we are. I have completed my order, and they actually added some sample coffee for free, which is great. But let's go back to Google Analytics debug screen, and many of the events worked perfectly. As you can see here, page view, add to cart, view item, add payment info, purchase. I think we missed begin checkout, but we will do another test. Probably in that store we can see the begin checkout. As I mentioned before, this Shopify Pixels is quite new, and sometimes it's not working. And in one store it's working, and in another store it's not working. That's why I told you that not to rely on this completely. But now I want to show you in this debug view, you can also click this event and see the data that is coming in. Currency, transaction ID, value, items, item ID, item name, quantity. It's like amazing really. And we can do the same with add to cart event, which is your favorite. I say like this because I receive so many comments on YouTube and emails about add to cart event not being included in our free tutorials. But it was hard to globalize that solution. That's why we couldn't include it. But as you can see here, add to cart events are here one by one. If for any of you this debug view did not work, even though after you tried, then you just do the same for your report. Click the reports and then real time. Here you will see the events. Maybe in your screen it will be in another place, but you will see the events, and all the events will be listed here that you received in the real time. And when you click on it, again you can see the data. currency, etc., and value. And when you click on it, you can see inside of the, for instance, for this event, we received four add to cart different events. And when you click, you will see all of them received currency as euro. As you can see here, guys, it is working perfectly. This is really exciting, and we are more than happy to share this solution, this open source solution with the Shopify community. Now you can go ahead and implement. Maybe you already did. I hope you follow the steps with me until now. We are not done yet. Please bear with me, because you really need to be aware of what Shopify Pixels is and what are the cons and risks using it, especially at this very moment when it has just been released. So let me walk you through them. It might sound boring, but you should really know what this is about. So the cons and risks are, this screenshot is from Shopify's own documentation, and Shopify mentions that there are performance risks. These scripts are being run in the background. They are running in the sandbox environment, but still, if there is something wrong with your scripts, then it might affect your website performance, as it is being executed in each page, including the checkout. So be careful with what kind of codes you add there. Please don't trust every tutorial you see online. You know, it's so easy to make a YouTube video about something people don't even test properly, and then they just make a tutorial video or they write a blog post. Please make sure who you trust on this matter, and only implement the changes on the staging environment. For European stores especially, this solution is not GDPR compliant yet. It does not work with the consent management tools, so it will most probably just trigger the tracking no matter what the user consent is. Be careful with that. You don't want to be in trouble. I like to show always this website called enforcementtracker.com. I don't want to scare you guys, but so many companies are being fined by European Union. Here you can see a long list of companies, and even the governmental agencies. For instance, look, Danish Immigration Agency just fined 20,000 euro for something. And here you will see like small store owners, small businesses, private individuals are being fined. So you need to really be careful with the GDPR topic. And this is risky for GDPR standpoint at the moment. We have a great solution for GDPR. You can see on our website. Analyzify has an add-on for GDPR setup, and we can make it work for you. This solution, again, going back to Pixels, is being executed in a sandbox environment. Sandbox environment you can consider like an iframe. Okay, sorry for the technical terms, but I need to explain this. So the codes which we add here works in the iframe. So Shopify made this to avoid the potential risks, obviously, but this might cause some inconsistency in some events, especially sometimes when you click add to cart, you are being redirected. Add to cart iframe might not be able to follow it. So when you see your data, maybe after a week, you will see some wrong reports, like reports that don't match with your real numbers. So yeah, I know we tested in real time, it worked fine, but it is never the same with the real users, with the real data. So that's something which I again want to make sure to mention. There are some missing metrics and dimensions. For instance, product brand, user ID, just are examples that we provided here. They are not supported within the Shopify documentation as well. So through the pixels, there is no way to get them. There are other metrics as well. So a complete e-commerce tracking at the moment won't be possible with Shopify Pixels. That's another reason that only Shopify Pixels might not be a good option. And the same thing with the missing events. For instance, let's say in the collection page, this store has a collection page. Okay, let's say this is their collection page. Okay. And when I click a product, this is a product click event. And this is also an important event, but unfortunately the product click event is not being covered by Shopify Pixel yet. And there are a few other events as well that are not being covered. And the most important part, in my opinion, there is a lack of experience even in a team like Analyzify. We have 10 plus experts in our team, but even we don't have enough experience now because this is so new feature, and lack of expertise as well. Like there are not many experts in the field. So be careful with this again. Like don't hire people just that they claim they can set this up for you. It is risky. These pixels can do a lot of things that you are not aware. So there isn't enough data or experience also to rely on this method. Even us, we cannot now put these things into our production, or we cannot sell this as a service because we are just testing out, and we need to see some good amount of data with lots of stores. Then we can rely on this. That's why we recommend this action plan actually. Just don't use this as your primary tracking pixel. Use it as a secondary pixel. Wait for some time for the professionals like our team. Wait more videos from us. Or maybe you can just use an app like Analyzify, and we make sure to keep you up to date with these updates. And if this solution is perfectly ready to go to production, then of course we will make sure to use it. And also Shopify Web Pixels API is coming soon. It is in beta now. It will be released soon. So our app, and I'm sure some other apps too, will be adjusted to that, and things will work even better. So these are the cons and risks for this Shopify Pixels. I know you guys are quite excited to set this up on your store, to have the GA4 e-commerce tracking up and running. Make it for sure. I'm not saying don't do it, but make sure of these cons and risks and use a secondary pixel. And European stores, it can be a risk for you to execute this. So make sure that you are GDPR compliant. At the moment, this solution will not be GDPR compliant, maybe for some time at least. But just follow this page, bookmark this page. We will keep the updates here. And also, just follow our YouTube channel, and we will also make sure to keep you up to date with this channel. So this was all about Shopify Pixels cons and risks. So I hope this tutorial and this feature brings your GA4 tracking issues to an end. I would also like to add that we will keep improving our open source offerings and provide more tutorial on our website and YouTube channel, so stay tuned for that. And you can consider purchasing Analyzify app on Shopify App Store to leave everything to expert hands. As seen on this topic, our team stays on top of the industry updates and implements them into our product or into our tutorial base once they are stable and once they are reliable. We do not hesitate to do this kind of changes, this kind of updates into our client store as well, if they are reliable, even though this is out of our product coverage. What we care is for you to have a reliable and accurate tracking. Analyzify is not just a quality software. We offer hands-on audit, setup, validation, and we offer in-depth support at no extra cost. We don't hesitate to offer you custom solutions to your store level problems. We don't just give you the software and leave you with that. And as a European company, we also offer a GDPR compliant tracking, including a special service for that, GDPR consent setup and validation service. That being said, Analyzify offers turnkey, customizable and validated data analytics setup and also support by industry professionals. We do not add a third-party script on your store. All our codes are visible and you can see them, and your data stays on your properties, on your GTM account, on your GA4 account, and it does not pass through our servers. So as a European company, this is important for us. We are not processing your data. We are just making sure that your store is sending the data through Google Tag Manager to the other properties. And at the moment, our solution works solely on Google Tag Manager. But now we will also switch to Web Pixels API once Shopify released it, and we will offer alternative solutions. Our Google Tag Manager integration has a pre-built container over 50 tags, and it includes GA4 all the events, Google Ads, enhanced conversions, remarketing, Bing, TikTok, etc, etc. We have a cool feature within our app. We call it real-time data troubleshooting. You just write your URL, hit start, and our troubleshooting API goes into your store, checks the data pieces one by one, and makes sure all your events, including add to cart, product view, and all your events are working in the real time. And if something is not working, it just informs you, and then also you will have the chance to ping us and we can help you with that. Our product is a one-time purchase app. You get lifetime product updates. Whenever we update our product, you also get it. 3-month support is included within our price, but you can always purchase an extended support for a small fee. Last but not least, we also have a do-it-yourself setup option where you can do your own setup within 10 to 15 minutes by following the steps within our app, App provides everything, injects the data layers into your theme files, and injects the GTM container into your theme files, generates a perfectly compatible and pre-built, custom-built GTM container for your store, and also walks you through the validation steps. After you do your own setup, you can validate your setup through our app, or you can always ask our expert team to help you with the validation. And also, of course, if you have any other problems in your tracking setup, again, our expert team will be there to help you with that. That's enough of Analyzify app. We will keep improving our product, our open source solutions. We are here to help the Shopify community in this crazy, everyday changing data tracking world. Thanks for watching until now. I hope it went all well for you. Stay tuned. We will have many other tutorials in this topic. Shopify Pixels will be our focus, and also soon we will release a new tutorial series on Google Ads as well as SEO. Make sure to subscribe to our channel not to miss the updates, and please let us know through the comments if everything went well for you. It makes us really happy to see your reactions. And of course, if you have any questions, please comment. Our team regularly checks the comments, and I wish you all the best and stay happy until the next video.